In the beginning, God had a perfect plan for the human race. There was no one or anything that was before or after God. He was the beginning, His Word destined to become flesh. Through Him, all things were made. God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, but the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. Day 1. God spoke, "Let there be light." And there was light, separated from darkness. For what fellowship does the kingdom of darkness have with light? Day 2. By His word the heavens were made. Everything came to existence by the breath of His mouth. God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." And He called this vault sky. Day 3. The floods lifted up. The waves of the sea departed at the sound of His voice. God spoke, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." For the sea was His, and with His hands He formed the dry land. Day 4. And God made the moon to mark the seasons. The sun, which He created, knew its time for setting, to mark days and years. God determined and set the number of stars in the sky, and knew them all by name. Day 5. He formed the depths of the ocean and the sea, abounding them with creatures both large and small. By His hands He garnished the heavens and the earth. Day 6. On the 6th day, God formed every animal and wild living creature according to their kinds. He said, "Let us make mankind in our image and like us, that they may rule over creatures that move within the sea and along the ground." The life of every creature and the breath of all mankind were formed in Him. And He blessed them by saying, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over all the beasts of the earth and birds in the sky. Everything that has breath of life in it, I give it to you." Day 7. Thus, heaven and earth were finished on the 7th day. He made this day holy and rested from all the work of His creation. The entire universe proclaimed His glory. Adam and Eve were the continuation of God, living in His glory, destined to take dominion. But the devil deceived man in order to take his territory on earth, causing them and all their generations to fall from the glory of God. Humanity went from being dominant to being dominated, from being God's governor on earth to being governed, controlled by the enemy of his soul. God's original intention was to give humanity dominion, so that we may extend His kingdom on earth. But through the ages, mankind grew with great explorations, experiments of enlightenment, and rational thinking filled with philosophical theories, attempting to understand the meaning of life. Between the centuries and around the world, science, democracy, and cultural trends embraced the paths that led us astray from God's original plan for creation. We mechanized railroads, improved roads and paths that lead us to towns and cities, expanding with populations during the Industrial Revolution, yet we were all still in need of a greater revolution. Rapid accumulation of knowledge and technology, science and invention spread information through electronics, and through the ages we journeyed away from our original source of life. And though Christianity produced a golden race of men and women who brought forth great awakenings and revivals, the human body is still in need of experiencing an everlasting encounter with God's supernatural presence.
Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Jesus, the key to life, restored our relationship with God to return to us God's original design. And God said, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions, both men and women. I will pour out my spirit in those days. I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke, and everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." Are you ready for the next chapter of mankind? The story ends with a supernatural revolution. CGC 2012, the chosen generation.
Right about now, I know y'all digging this, so wherever you at, we about to bring it.
people, come on, I want you to put your hands together. Lift your hands toward heaven. There's electric in this place. Are you ready? I didn't hear you. Are you ready?